Hello everyone. So this is the tool and I will give a quick walkthrough of how and what you need to do to get started with this tool. So first thing first, this tool will only work with the latest version of Excel, that is the Office 365 accounts. So if you're using an older version, it will work if you have Power Pivot already included in your Excel. If not, there's a separate add-in. Reach out to me. I'll provide more updates on inputs on how to install that. Having said that, if you're using the latest version of Excel, when you open the screen, this is the first screen that you'll be, shown. And here you need to select Enable Contents. This is an important aspect. And another important aspect that is required to be considered while using this tool is to have macros enabled. For this, if your macros are not enabled, you can go in Trust Settings, uh, Trust Center. Under that, you will have an option macro settings. Here, you have to select enable all macros. With this, only you will be able to use all the features of the tool. Uh, I'm pressing OK and OK. So now this is the tool. Now this is divided into four major, portions. Uh, when you have this tool for the first time, you have to first set up, like you have to set up the account itself. So master setup is important, and that is what you see on the bottom right side. So the first thing is how many bank accounts you have. So you can bank and credit card, so you can have multiple bank accounts and you can record all of that and they can be used. So important thing is to change the number of account. If you have three bank account, keep it three, and then you have to provide the information here. Bear in mind there are some requirement to ensure that information is accurate and complete, so you will be guided throughout the tool on what you need to do. So, once you have set up your bank account, you can have your accounts in multiple currency. Always remember that the base currency should be on the first line, and here all you have to do is you have to fill in this information, and rest of the fields you just have to put in different currencies and their exchange rate. So, base currency is Bahraini dinar. One Bahraini dinar will fetch me 9.74 AED, and likewise. So that's how the conversion rate has to be recorded. If you have multiple currencies and multiple rates for the currency, that can be updated. So the date column should be used as effective date. So effective from what date the rate is applicable. So for example, if I'm making 1st Jan 21, effective rate for INR is 195.5. So accordingly, when the system is calculating up to 31st December 2020, it will apply 195, and post that it will apply 195.5. And now if I'm putting a date 1 Jan 21 June 2021, and I'm saying rate will be 196, then from Jan 2021 to 31st of May 2021, 195.5 will be applied, and after that, 196 will be the exchange rate applied for converting all the currencies. So all the reports that you see in the tool will be in base currency. So it is important to set up your base currency appropriately. Once you have done your master setup, currency, bank accounts, and the third one is the account. So this is the place where you set up all your accounts. So basis a standard master uh, chart of account has already been built in the tool. So you have, these are the subcategories that you can pick from. So if you're adding a new account, let's say investment, I'll write it short, investment in shares. Okay, so all I have to do is to select which category it belongs to. So it is an investment. Similarly, bank loan. Okay, bank loan is a liability, long-term liability, and then accordingly. So other two fields are calculated automatically, so you don't have to fill in those information. So once you have set up these things, you can start with your entry. So we'll start with a bank account. Based on the bank account that you have mentioned in the list of account, they will appear here, and you can just go in the bank account and start entering your transactions. So starting with this is something which can be downloaded from your bank account and copy paste over here. It gives you full functionality of copy pasting and editing. And based on the accounts that you have identified in the master setup, you just have to include the accounts here. So based on that, it's a drop down list that you can pick it up, and accordingly you can pass the entries. Similarly for credit cards, so all your credit card transactions will be captured here and they'll be moved. So uh, there's no transaction recorded in this account. So let's go back and take an account where I have some dummy entries. So let's pick this up. Yeah. So we have some transaction here. So obviously, from the credit card statement, only these three fields have been captured. So as a simple copy paste will work, and then you can fill in your information. Likewise, all the information can be filled in. Uh, so they are self-explanatory per se. Specifically, auto provision is one where you can make auto provision for the period starting from the end period. So, for example, when you look at this from April to June, every month car expenses will be booked off per month of 100 dirhams, dinar, and it will pass entries accordingly. Similarly, there's another option of full amount where this 180 will be split during this period from June 20 to May 21. So for example, if I have to create another one, let's say from Jan 21 to 31st December 21. So for the year, I'm saying that I have to uh, make an expense. I have grocery expenses that I'm just taking an hypothetical situation. I paid grocery expenses in cash, uh, and then I have amount like do I want to put per month? So if I select per month, then every month 10 BHD would be accounted in the account. So every month the expense of 10 BD would be booked. But if I change this to full amount, then 10 would be distributed. So let's make this 120. So accordingly, between 12 months, every month it will, account 10 BD. So this lets you avoid, entering data multiple times. You can just replicate it and scale it based on this. So once all data entries are done, you can go in the income statement. Now with this income statement, first thing that you need to do once you have updated the record, whenever you come to this page, you need to press refresh and allow the report to refresh the data. You'll be able to see in the status bar if it's working, and then once done, you will be able to see all the transaction on the tool. So let's go back home. I'll go here. I'll delete one recurring entry from here. So this was the only 2022 entry that I had. If I'm deleting this and if I refresh this, 2022 transaction should disappear from here. There you go. 2022 is gone because it was coming from the auto entry, and similarly you can see that grocery expenses that we had booked, it's appearing 10 per month based on that auto provision entry. Similarly, you can look at trial balance. Trial balance, you can decide, okay, you want trial balance as on what, 31st December 21, 2020, and if I run this, it will go back in the data set, identify all the data, and Accordingly, it will show the final result as on 31st December 2020. Obviously, remember that the status bar will show if the query is running in the background, so you should allow time for it to refresh. Now, given that we have run this, you can see the trial balance, and it shows that the net amount is zero in base currency. So it is fine. Similarly, you can see balance sheet. So balance sheet again, I can put as on which stage. So I'm doing the same period as what we did for trial balance, and it will refresh. So whenever you click on refresh, it's important when you change any information. It is the key that you refresh the report. Without that, it will not work. Here you go, and you can see the balance sheet is tallying. There's no issues. It's rounding error that you see over here. Similarly, account statements. So if you want to see a particular account for the period, for example, let's take 1st Jan 21 to 31st December 21 for car expenses. That's where we have booked our additional groceries where we have booked. So let's go and see grocery account. So search for grocery, grocery, and I have requested for a statement of account from 1st Jan to 31st December for grocery. Let's refresh this, and there you go. So obviously initially the actual grocery expenses are there, but then subsequently you'll be able to see all the auto entries that we had pasted, booked. So from Jan to December, 12 month, we can see we have 10 dinar booked as grocery expenses. So with this, you can see detailed transactions per account. Similarly, you can see your expenses summary, expenses and income summary in a chart form, and you can see it by year. If required, you can if I clear this year and I can make this more summarized, so I can see it per annum, and then if I select a particular year, I can drill down by clicking on the plus button. I can see for a particular year month wise information. So hierarchy has already been built in the chat, so you can use it directly. So this is the basic master setup, data entry, and then reports. And if you want to set up budgets versus actual, you can also do that. So this video will become too long, so I will pause here. But then you can set up your budget here, and once your budget is set up, you can compare your budget versus Excel. So this will obviously refresh is required because we have made some data entry changes. So information is not refreshed, it is refreshed when you click on refresh button in the tool. It's very important that we keep that in mind, otherwise the information will not be accurately updated. That's it. So